What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 4. And it's called...
The Bells. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines, some of your best moments, some of your comments on Twitter because Twitter was blowing up last night. So be sure to stick around for the podcast for that.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode, you guys.
So, okay, we're going to splice this up into different sections. The first one being, I think, is best to start with Dany before the slaughter. So yes. Right before everyone in the fucking universe hated her. This is right. This Dany. And you know what's it's weird? So like I just, something in my gut was like, they're gonna make her look so fucking crazy this week. Like I could just feel it. Yeah. I'm like, I bet you they're gonna like mess up her hair, like her makeup. Like they're gonna really try to sell you on like this crazy mad queen. Like, right. You know, her look. Sure enough, like we start by seeing her and her hair's like all over the place. Like, yeah, there's no braids in her hair anymore.
Insane. Yeah.
But this is the thing, like the girl's in mourning. Like, yeah, she just lost her best friend. She just lost her dragon. Like, and I almost feel like really quickly, like I feel like when the first dragon died, she didn't really get to like mourn the loss of that dragon because everything was so fast after that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so she's great. She looks crazy. Everyone's worried about her. Everyone's like, oh my God, she looks crazy. Like she's not eating, whatever.
Right.
But what really happens in this section is that Tyrion, we see that scene with like the big dragon wall and he approaches her and he's like, hey girl, hey, he's like, you're not looking too good. But he basically says like, look, I told Varys about Jon Snow.
The tea.
Yeah. Like I basically said it and Varys told Sansa, like, or Sansa, Jon told Sansa, whatever. And she kind of like glitches out, whatever. And I guess she doesn't really know what to say in that moment. Like, right. Did she say I knew it? Like, did she
all she really
it?
says is like, someone betrayed me. It was Jon Snow. And then she's like, because Jon had told Sansa and Sansa told that and da-da-da-da and da-da-da. Like, it was just this whole train of people who like lied to her. And so she is angry at basically everyone. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. It's like getting betrayed by your entire like
of course
group of friends,
at this point, like basically. Who can she trust? And is it in this moment where Tyrion says to her like, don't worry, like I got one more plan, like we should like try to is this where he says it?
I mean, he says it a few times over. I think he's like, don't worry, like I can figure this out, because he says it later on when she's on the throne and she's like I don't really give a shit because you've failed me so many goddamn times.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't even care. Like, I think he also finds out. No, he finds that out later that Jaime like got kidnapped or taken away. But anyways, so I think in this moment, Tyrion is once again going to see her and saying like, yeah, I done fucked up. I'm really sorry for telling Varys. I thought it was a good idea to let him know. And she's like, why did you not even consult me about it? And it's true. Like he had so many opportunities to talk to her. And these are the things that I guess we can critique in terms of the way the show is closing off. Like it feels like very much rushed, you know, like 3 seasons ago, this would have been an entire almost half of the season. Like, who should I tell next? But like literally within like 40 minutes of last week's episode, everybody knew. Everyone knew. The cast knew.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this whole betrayal moment, this whole like everything kind of coming to this big apex of her not trusting anybody and her lashing out by the end of the episode. It all kind of comes to a head very fast. And it's hard for me to believe that that's what would normally happen. So anyway, outside of that, she's essentially really just depressed and she has no friends anymore. Like no one, she can't trust anybody. There's nobody around her that she wants to talk to. And I think the first person that she talks to is Grey Worm.
Yeah.
And it's kind of awkward. Like she like low-key gives him like the collar, like the slave collar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did she keep that slave collar though? Like it's like old school like slavery.
Like Missandei kept it maybe like remembering her old life or something, or like
Yeah, but
that she's like free now, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she gives it to Grey Worm. She's like, this is like the last thing she like took from like whatever the old place, and she's like, take like, it's yours, take it, have it, whatever. And I thought it was
into the fire.
I thought it was such a cute moment because like she's also recognizing that like these two people were in love and like they had this really special relationship, and then he kind of just like he's like pissed and he's like fuck it, and he throws it into the fire.
Yeah, he's pissed.
And my mom's like, in that moment, she's like, see, it's fire. She's like, fire's everywhere. I'm like, okay, Mom, like, we get it. Like, this girl's going to go crazy in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we get it.
Like, we get it.
We get
it's
it.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he throws it out and he doesn't keep it. And I think, I think seeing him get just as mad as she is, it made me feel better, like real talk. Like I was like, at least someone's on her side. At least someone is like protecting her and being like, no matter where you go, like I'll be with you. No matter how crazy your plan is, like I'm still here with you. So it was just cute.
It was cute, but yeah, we'll get into like her strategy and like what she ends up doing and like who sides with who. But
yeah. So then she gets.
I'm glad that she at least has another visitor. So John finally arrives at Dragonstone.
Here I'm like, okay, man's got to come through. Like he's got to impress her or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just do something. Make her feel better. Like Jesus. Like she's your aunt. So he walks in.
She's your auntie.
Yeah. And he walks in and she's like, I know everything, whatever. Like you told everyone. You told Sansa. She's like, don't you think like, you know, she had something against me, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And she tells him like, I really don't have anyone else who loves me. And
so
she's
sad.
like, it was really sad. She's like,
It's
everyone
so
in the north like
sad.
loves you, whatever. She's like, I don't have anyone here. And he's like, no, but he's like, I love you. And like, even when he said it, I was like, that's not convincing. Like you didn't sound convincing
and it's
enough.
not, and it doesn't feel true because she's like, oh, you love me, eh? And then she goes up to him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you want, like, I'm your queen too, eh? And then she goes up and kisses him. And he, like, it's like dead lips. Like, he can't even, like, kiss her back. He's like,
yeah, he couldn't kiss her back. And I don't know, a part of me was still like, yes, get it, yes. And then he didn't. I'm like, fuck, they're done. Like, they're totally done. There's nothing left
like,
over.
Broken up.
It's
now,
just
like,
his
officially.
way of saying, like, this is not happening. Like, you're my aunt. I can't see past that. Done.
Which is, like... Can you give me your opinion on this? Can you please give me your opinion on this? Because it's really racking my brain. And, like, talking about it again is really frustrating me.
I think if they were the only incestual, like, relationship in the show, I would be more grossed out. But because we've seen Jaime and Cersei this entire time, and people have forgiven them, they'd be like, but they're really in love. Like, they only have each other. Like, this is all. So, like, I've gotten used to it. And on top of that, like, they didn't even know each other their whole lives. Like, they didn't even know they were related until, like, last week. So, like, who cares? Like, just go fuck it out.
It's not like they're, like, literal fraternal twins fucking each other.
It's not like she's his mom. Like, it's like, okay, she's his aunt. But, like, they never even knew each other their whole lives. So
exactly.
When I look at it, I'm like, John, really? If you have this much of a connection to her and the freaking realm like depends on like you fucking her, like just fuck her, like whatever.
Just fuck her. She's so like she feels so lonely and all she wants is love. And he says he loves her, but how could you love someone and not like want to fuck him? I don't get it.
Well, he loves her as like a. He loves her as like a queen, I'm always gonna be like loyal to you, but that's not what she's asking for. Like she's asking for, you know, a lover. I don't know.
Like,
I feel
you're telling me the second last episode of Game of Thrones, Daenerys Stormborn, one of the most beautiful women on this show, and like in like her like fucking beauty like precedes her. She's going to be lonely and by herself at the very end of all this. It's so bullshit.
I think that's why I wanted it to work out even more, because I was like, yo, these Targaryens are like, they're so into each other. They're like, narcissism is so like, they just want to be with their own like kind. So I was down for that too. I was like, oh my God, like they're just going to like have sex and like have babies and like have Targaryen babies. That's an amazing thing. Like she's so powerful that he doesn't even care that he's, you know, that she's his aunt. Like he still wants to be with her. That's how I wanted to see it. Cause like, you know, but that's not what happened. So this girl's left in the freaking corner alone, basically.
And she does take that moment to say like the ship has sailed. Like, okay, that
like,
means that
done.
She's like, everyone hates me. Like, you don't even love me. You just like, you're just scared of me now. So cool. I'm going to take that approach when I go into battle tomorrow. I'm going to fucking kill everybody.
Thanks, John.
So what's
like, honestly,
good,
John
bitch?
is the biggest letdown, honestly.
Like he couldn't even say anything. Like, you let him sit in this moment. He couldn't make anything better. He walks away and he's like, okay, that's it. I'm like, you're fucking useless.
He just stares.
Like, he just stares into nothingness. I'm like, talk to Dany, talk to her. Like, she needs you, even if it is just as someone who wants to be her advisor and not her like boyfriend. Like, talk to her. It's so unfair that she's left completely alone. It's like, it really hits me hard because I just feel like everybody really does have someone. She has no one, and it's so.
It was sad.
It was
really sad. Okay, so before we get into all of that, because we can get to it later too, but let's cut to Varys, because this was like a kind of big episode for Varys the spider.
Yeah.
And we open up the episode with him writing like little like scrolls, I guess, to
like love letters
to send to send them out to the Ravens, saying that Jon is a Targaryen and he has the rightful like heir to the throne, whatever. He's like, basically like spilling all the tea across like the nation. And then like his little like child like spy person comes and they're like, oh, like she's not eating, whatever. So I guess he's been spying on her for
he's been keeping an eye on her
a while now. And then I don't know what happens that like he just stops writing. He takes off his rings, and then
it's because in between all of that he does go out and meets Jon outside when he like arrives at the shore, and he's like, you should be the king, and he's like, she's my queen, I'm not doing this. And then that's when Tyrion has a conversation and says like, Mans is betraying you. And then
so
like,
at that point he knows that he's dead.
He's like done. So he takes off his rings. He can't send his like last letter out to the world, and then they just shackle him and take him to this like corner by the ocean. And they burn his ass. And they're all
like, and she's like, Dracarys. She said Dracarys in the most like chill. She's like, Dracarys. Like, she was so over it.
And it was so weird because it was such a long experience, but at the same time, very fast. For one, Varys as a character has literally survived 8 seasons, even longer, because he talks about the fact that he was serving so many kings and queens for so long. And now this is the one thing that like gets him dead. It's very shocking to me, you know, like, even her dad, the Mad King, you'd think that at least at some point he would be the one to like be like, Varys, you go die now, like, because I'm going crazy.
You know what's funny? I was reading one of the recaps, and the guy made a really good point. He said, if they gave more time to this entire season, he's like, that whole Varys move would have been played out so much smarter, because he's like, Varys would have waited for Jon to really like suss out Jon to like tell him like, yo, turn on her. Like, he told him so quickly that, you know, Jon wasn't on his side and he couldn't convince him, because the writer was like, if Varys just waited like one more day, Dany would have fucked up, and then Jon would have been like, true, you were right, like, this girl's crazy, like, I gotta like turn on her. So he's like, if there was time and there was space between these moments, like maybe Varys would have survived again. He could have gotten away with it or whatever, but because everything is so sped up, he fucks up 1, 2, and he's dead. Like, that was it, gone.
And that's the thing that really doesn't get me, because Varys, like we were saying, he's such a key player in knowing how to like play the game properly, that it was such a sloppy move for him to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna like betray her like right in her face, and you know, like, hope that nothing happens.
I guess what I'm chalking it up to is the fact that he knows that he has no time. Like, it's do or die now. So I guess he's just kind of acting out like as fast as he can, and he's not really at this point thinking, because he knows if he fucks up, it's done. It's dead. He's dead no matter what. So I guess his thing is just like roll the dice and see like what happens with that.
He does, and he does. The issue that kind of makes us a little bit scrambled too is Tyrion is the one that told him, and they had a full out conversation about it, and he admitted his his position on it all last episode. So he knows that like eventually Tyrion's gonna go to Daenerys and say like, yo, he's gonna try to fucking kill you or something. So there was a time limit. So I do understand why it was hasty. I just feel like it was a stupid move for him to even say like how he feels about it to Tyrion. Like, I know they're friends and stuff, but why are you saying like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to protect the realm? Like, that is literal treason. That is literally like going against your queen.
But that's where his loyalty is.
You're obviously gonna die for it.
Of course, yeah. But, and I think his his mission was always like operate under the radar. Like, no one really knows like what team I'm on. Like, that was him from the start. Him and Littlefinger, right? So
true.
Whatever. But yeah, anyway, so he's
dead now.
Yeah, he's dead. We cut to Arya and the Hound. And they're like, I guess they've entered like King's Landing at this point. They're like kind of walking through whatever.
Like stealth mode got in.
And then they actually get into the Red Keep, and they're like in the war room where like the map is on the ground.
Yeah.
And we're just fast forwarding here, obviously, at this point.
I was like, damn, you fast forwarded all the way through this.
Yes, just to cover off this part, but the building's obviously falling at this point because, you know, the dragon's been attacking, whatever. And this scene, honestly, I was so gagged. I did not see this coming. The Hound looks at her because she's like, let's go. Like, I'm going to kill her. And he's like, you don't have to do this. He's like, go. Like, he's like, you're going to die no matter what. Like, you're going to kill her and you're going to die because the building's going to collapse. Like, she's going to die to fire anyways, or the dragon's going to eat her, like, whatever. And she's like, no, like, I'm going to kill him. And then I think he, like, pulls her one more time. And he's like, don't end up like me. Like, you know, what is revenge? Like, it's just gonna get you here. And I don't know what triggers her in this moment, because
I don't know if it's like literally the whole world collapsing around her, or what it really, like, what really happens in that moment. Because I do agree, I like the arc and I like what he said, but they spent literally 2 weeks on the road getting to King's Landing, and this is the moment, like at the very end of her story, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna like turn around now. Yeah, which she does. She's like, which was like, she's very like weird. Sandor. She's like, thank you so much, and she leaves. I'm like, wait, what? Like, is this girl like for real? Like, she's lying? She's part of me was like, I did not believe it because I was like it just happened so fast. It just happened so quickly, and I was like, this can't be real. Even though like I'm down for her to be alive, obviously, it's just, I just think it happened so quickly, especially because she did leave Winterfell, and she was like, I'm not coming back. Like, she was okay with dying. Like, she fully knew that might be her end. Right. And I guess she saw like a different path for herself in that moment. So let's keep going with Arya and her story. Since we're here with her, she ends up leaving, and then there's a huge scene with her in the streets of King's Landing, and she's running, and there's like ash everywhere, and like things are blowing up, and the dragons everywhere, and she has like 3 or 4 close calls, which was really terrifying to watch as, you know, a fan of Arya Stark. And
I was especially scared because she did, like, the moment I knew she gave up the revenge plot, I was like, she's gonna die, because it was like she learned her life lesson. And I had said this before in our podcast. I was like, I want her to learn that that's not her end goal. Like, that can't be what she's alive for. Like, she has a whole life ahead of her that means so much more. So as soon as she realized that, I was like, fuck, like, don't tell me she's gonna die now. Like, she's almost there. Like, she can make it to Gendry. Like, just go see your man.
Go see your man.
So it was a really brutal sequence, and it was actually interesting to hear like the creators of the show talking about it on Inside the Episode, because they were like, all we're seeing right now is like bombs going off and like random people running around the streets. He's like, but the minute you see your favorite character, Arya, running through the streets, he's like, you are so engulfed in that experience, in that sequence. 100%. And he's like, it means so much more to you as the audience. And I was like, yeah, true, because you're freaking scared shitless that this girl's gonna die. Sure. And yeah, you're right. Like, she does have a couple close calls.
Yeah. There's this whole story, like mini, I guess, story arc with a mother and a daughter that start in the beginning of the episode when they're going to the Red Keep. And then she finds them again, she loses them. And then she tries to get them out of this area. And then, like, the dragon basically blasts them to death, both of them, and we think that she's dead.
It's
and this
so
is
crazy because
we're fast forwarding all the way to the end of the episode, but
like that last sequence, like, again, she like tries to save them, but the mom like falls. You can literally see like Drogon coming from the back. I'm like, oh my god. Bad. She tries to grab the girl, but the girl runs back to her mom, and Arya's like, fuck it. The minute she like jumps across to the side of the building, the flames just like, it looked like Arya died, because like the flames that go everywhere. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, how did she get away from this?
So we had a full out discussion / debate over this, about this over lunch, because after that happens, she does wake up and all the rubble's done. The ash is kind of like falling from the sky. It looks like it's snowing, and no one else is around. It's just her. And she wakes up, and there's this like perfect white horse just like sitting there and neighing. And I'm like, is she dead though?
Yeah. Like, okay, so we
had a
full
conversation about that whole thing.
It was, for me, it was very much gladiator moment, and that's why like I got really emotional, because I'm like, oh my god, she's dead. Like, she's dead. Like, this is like her dad's spirit in a horse coming and being like, come with, like, now you're ready to come with me. Like,
you're
let's
done.
Go. Yeah. Because the streets were literally like, there was no people screaming anymore. It was like everyone else was dead. How does that make sense? Like, dead. I'm sure there would be like one more random person like running through the streets. Yeah. And it was just such an eerie moment. And like, she looks, and watching it the second time, I definitely think that, yes, she's still alive for sure. But it was such a beautiful moment, that horse. And there's like a really nice lens flare that happens when she looks at the horse. and I was like gonna start crying again. I don't know what it means. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
if
what do
she's
you think the
dead.
significance of it is? Like, because we did have a big debate about it, because you know, like, is she dead? And you know, this is kind of a symbolism of her like leaving and like kind of like finishing her path. But then they don't show her dead body, so it's not like she's a ghost, and they've never done that before in this show. So it's hard for us to like think that that's the situation. But at the same time, like we were talking to some of our friends over lunch, and like some people said like maybe it is like her afterlife, and like we'll see maybe an afterlife, and maybe we'll be able to see some of the characters from the beginning of the season that way too. So, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And then people started like talking about the actual horse, like the white horse. And someone said that the white horse died when like the initial commander guy died at the beginning. I was like, oh my God, the horse is dead. And like now like she's dead too. But I think there's a significance of the horse. It's a white.
What does that mean?
It's a pale mare. And apparently there is a connection in the past season where someone tells like Daenerys, they're like, death is coming for you and it's going to be like a pale mare. Like they literally say that. So that everyone's like, oh my God, like she's going to come for her now. Like Arya's coming for Dany.
Which is what I assumed anyway. Like obviously that's
which is what we knew, but I guess the significance of the actual horse being like white, and then it's like now she's like on her next mission to like kill Dany, I guess.
The way that I saw it was like maybe it was like something from Melisandre and like the God of Light, because they did bring her back. They did like kind of save her through the Battle of Winterfell, and it was like almost like a gift from the God of Light to say, you know, like your mission isn't done yet. You need to like finish your story. You know?
I do feel like that Lord of Light thing finished with the Night King. Like I feel like that was their purpose, for her to finish the Night King storyline, and like this is like a whole new thing. But I don't know. We'll see if she ends up. Do you want her to kill Dany? Like, are you good with that?
You know, it's a little bit difficult to talk about. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode, but because I really think that it's between her or Jon, and I think because we got the Night King like attack from like Arya, they'll probably give Jon the other side of it, because it'll be a little bit more tragic coming from Jon versus Arya. Unless she decides to like wear Dany's face, and like, which is what I said I think as a joke like a couple episodes ago, like she just like pretends to be Daenerys and is like cool for the rest of the season, you know what I mean? That'd be which sick. Is kind of fucked up, but anyway.
So we cut to one of like I think a lot of people's favorite moment in this episode, which was like the Clegane Bowl. When we see, you know, the Hound in the Mountain finally coming face to face. And I think like the cinematics of this freaking sequence was insane.
So cool.
They're like fighting on this staircase, and like the world's freaking falling apart behind them.
And it was really cool because they made a lot of direct parallels between Arya and the Hound in these moments. Like, I think at one point Arya can't get up because people are trampling all over her, and it shows her face like pressed to the ground, and then it cuts directly to him fighting his brother, and his face is pressed to the ground, and it's just this like back and forth between these two assassins, these hired killers, these people who have become, you know, these soulless killers, finally having their apex, and hers is fleeing from it, and his is, you know, trying to finish his end game, you know.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it was really well done. It was really entertaining to watch. Yeah. But I will say it did feel a little misplaced.
It did.
What did you think?
It did definitely. I could have used this maybe last season, but like having said that, 100%. Like it had to come to this moment where like they both died. Yeah. So like this couldn't have happened last season because we still need to see the Mountain, I guess, and the Hound. Yeah. But yeah, basically what happens is like, and I didn't even think of this, but the writer was like, he basically dies with fire. So like he's literally dying to his like fear.
Exactly. He's like, fuck. At the very end, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just do this. And then he just like jumps out the window. Yeah. Which was kind of amazing to see.
It was such a nice. Oh my God, that shot.
It was crazy. So cool to watch. But that's the thing. Like by the end of the shot, when he falls into the fire, it shows how insignificant this storyline is in the larger scheme of things. Because like the entire fucking city is burning down. You know.
Here's the thing. At least they fought it out. Like at least there was some drama. Like fucking Cersei just disappeared. Like there was nothing with Cersei. So
that was the best. For one, that was the best sequence that I watched. Just like them going down the stairs, Sandor's at the bottom. They see each other, and then like Cersei, like the mountain starts to glitch out, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill my brother now," and he ignores Qyburn. He literally like grabs Qyburn and like chucks him down the stairs.
Like a basketball. He's like,
he's like, "Bye." He's like, "I don't need you," which was like,
bye.
I guess like symbolic to, I guess, a Frankenstein moment.
Yeah.
But then Cersei's like, "Get back here," and then she can't control him anymore, so she just like awkwardly like walks down the stairs.
She's like, "I'm just gonna go now," and the hound's like, "Kate, go, like whatever. I don't care about
just
you.
leave."
Yeah,
because I was expecting him to like just like kill her too, because really he could care less. He just wants to kill his brother, so you could literally just kill Cersei in that moment. But I guess the hound is like, this is not the time for it, right? Like he's like, I just need to focus on killing my brother.
Of course.
So so they have the fight. They both kind of die at the same time. So the next thing that we want to talk about in this episode is obviously the Cersei and Jaime storyline and how that kind of closes things off.
Right.
So as we know, Jaime was coming back from Winterfell down to King's Landing to like fuck his sister or whatever. Who cares? And so he finally gets there. But then when he gets there, he well, before he gets there, actually, he gets stopped by Dany's people near Dragonstone. And he's like trying to go around them, but then they catch him anyway. And Tyrion helps him escape. He's like, take this boat. You can like fly, like, you know, like sail away to Pentos. Like, just go and live your best life with my sister. Like, I know I hate her or whatever, but like you guys just need to like live your better life. And what did you think of that? The fact that he let him go.
I hate this moment. I'm so sorry, guys. I really hated this moment because this moment could have been in season 5, in season 6, in season 7. But in season 8, when this shit is hitting the fan at this level, for you to go to your brother and be like, go be with my sister. Like, yeah, you guys deserve each other. Like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why do they deserve each other? Why? Yeah. Like, just go with him at this point. Like, go with him.
You know what it is? I think to the defense of this story, it's really, you have to focus more on the relationship between Tyrion and Jaime and how they like really love each other as brothers.
Which is the only saving
really
grace.
Respect each other.
I get that. I 100% understand that. It's just, I'm over this storyline. Like, we've been through this so many times where like Tyrion's in the middle of like Jaime and Cersei, and again Tyrion says, he's like, you're the only person that loved me. You're the only person that like didn't see me as a monster. Like, we've been through this already. He's said this to Jaime a million times where like
before he almost died. Yeah, it's true.
So it gets to a point where like it doesn't really mean anything anymore because like I've heard this from you guys. Yeah, you know, the only thing that I took from it was like, this is probably their last, you know, scene together ever. So it was a bit emotional. But you know.
At the same time, I also was like really frustrated with Tyrion in this part of the episode because I'm like, yo, if you fuck this shit up and this comes back and like bites your,
already
like,
was.
He was already fucking it up already.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, if Cersei does get away and gets away with Jaime, I'm gonna be like, wow, Tyrion, you fucking loser. But that didn't happen. But anyway, so he lets him go and Jaime gets his way to King's Landing. But at the same time, he gets stuck at the, like, just before the Red Keep gates close. So he can't get in. And he even tries to be like, soldier, and he like tries to hold up his hand, but there's like literally thousands of people around him, so no one gives a fuck about him. So he tries to find this like next corner area because he's like, I know it so well. And he ends up going to this like back area where there's like water. It's like by the ocean.
I think it's where Tyrion said like go because that's where the Red Keep will come out to. So he figured if I start from there and move my way up, I can get to Cersei. And then one of the most randomest things happen.
So we'll talk about this moment, like what happens to the Iron Fleet, but like what happens is, you know, Euron swims back on shore and he fucking sees Jaime in the exact same moment that he's like, turning a corner.
Jaime. He's like, hey, like, you, hey, you, like, I want to fight you now. Come here. And Jaime's like, what the fuck? Like, who are you?
You want to kill another king? Because I fucked your queen, like, fucked your sister.
It was like a college kid, like, comment. Yeah. And Jaime's like, bro, this is, like, the last episode. I gotta like, turn up. Like, who are you? It's so irrelevant.
Yeah. So they have this big fight scene, and while I thought it was like decent, also like Jamie, after all these years of having a golden hand, still really fucking sucks at like fighting. You literally last 2 episodes ago, you killed like hundreds of White Walkers.
White Walkers. How does this happen?
You can't kill one loser,
Honestly.
fucking Euron Greyjoy. Like, what a dumbass. So I'm just like, what is happening here? So anyway, they end up fighting, but Euron has a smaller like dagger, and he ends up like slashing Jamie a few times, and at the very last moment, he's able to get his sword back because there's like a lot of like brawling on the floor. He gets his sword back, and then Jamie like shoves it into Euron's like stomach, and then he dies. But then Euron's like, "But I got you, bro. I got you, man." And then he dies. Like that's literally how Euron dies. Like the biggest.
He's like, "I killed Jamie Lannister." I'm like, he's like, I don't think he did, but okay.
I'm like, sure.
This is so random. Like his story is so weird.
I got you.
What I was telling
Yeah.
Jay, like I was like, I wish it was Bronn. Like I wish it was someone that we actually cared to see Jamie fighting in that moment, because like Euron was so random. He could have been dead with the Iron Fleet, and I wouldn't have given a shit. Like it done.
That's
like
true.
oh, it was so weird.
And that's the thing. Like, are you telling me the last time we're ever gonna see Bronn is that scene where he got promised?
I'm sure he'll come back at some point with Tyrion, maybe.
But
anyways,
Tyrion at this point is whatever. Like Bronn is like R.I.P. Bronn.
Yeah.
But,
so he does end up making his way all the way to the Red Keep. God knows how this guy makes it.
I know he like got stabbed 3 times.
Yeah, like how's he even walking? And at this point, obviously, like
it's his power of love.
At this point, Qyburn has told Cersei, like, "Girl, like let's like dip whatever."
You gotta go.
This is before his brain gets smashed in by the mountain. So she was waiting in like on the war room floor, or whatever, and he shows up, and it was a really beautiful moment. I get it. I felt it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, really, Jamie? Like, really?
Really, bro?
Like, you gonna fuck Brienne and then come back to this hoe? Like, that's so rude.
It's so tight. It really did Brienne's storyline dirty.
Yeah.
They really shouldn't have had sex. Like, I really think that one of our friends really got emotional about the fact that they gave her that storyline and totally made her this like sobbing baby girl last episode, and now he's just like back with his sister after 5 seconds.
It just, for me, it really takes away everything Jamie has done through his whole character arc. Like, it really does.
True.
Because it's like, in the end, you fucking went back to this bitch. Like, you could have found love somewhere else because you had a connection to Brienne, but I don't know what happened to that. And I understand it. Like, they're gonna die together. The prophecy said that he's gonna. Whatever. I get it. It. It's just I lost my respect for him. I was like, I wanted more for his ending, and whatever.
But what would you have expected? Like, we did.
I wanted her to kill him.
Like,
I wanted him to kill her. I really did.
I thought that even at the very end, I thought he was gonna be like, "You're a bitch. I hate you."
Yeah, like you did this. You know, like
yeah. So anyway, they find each other in like the front, and it's it's also very symbolic where they are. They're like literally standing on the world, and they're still like the world is falling apart, and they're still together.
Yeah,
it's like whatever. You guys are like the most romantic couple of this fucking show, because like
Danny how did they make it work, and Danny and Jon couldn't make it work?
That's what I'm saying. It fucking pisses me off. Anyway, so they run down to, I guess, where the dragon skulls are, like down in the basement. And they get locked out because he's like, we can find another way, and they get locked out. They can't get out anymore. They're stuck. And this is when Cersei has her big breakdown. She's like, I don't want to die here. I want my baby to live. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Me. Like, don't let me die. And he's like, don't worry. She's like, I want my baby to live.
Huge weak moment for her.
But this is the thing. Like, I wanted her to admit, like, I fucked up. Like, why did I do all those things? Like, I wanted more from her to be like, how did I get here? Where are our kids? Like, you did all of this. Like, you know what I mean?
Did,
like,
and I wish all of that.
I wish I heard her say those words. Like, her just saying, Jamie, save me, is just her expecting Jamie to save her. Like, that's not really a realization.
Right.
So I wanted a little bit more, and then it's too late. Like, the walls legit, like, just come crashing down on them, and they die together, like, holding each other. They die together. So bye.
It is stupid. I was a little disappointed in the way she went down, because there were so many moments that, you know, we wanted so many people to get the revenge that she deserved, and while she does lose and she has this like mini breakdown, she didn't suffer through anything. Like anything. Like, if anything, all of her suffering just hardened her into this like soulless biatch, which we've experienced ever since her kids died. But it made her like this angry, vengeful person, and it really like ends up with her being like this weak ass biatch too.
I think it was I don't know. And you were saying this too. You said like, and here's the thing: I didn't need 30 people to kill Cersei. Like the way you said it, you were like, it would have been so sick if like Jaime finally gets there, he sees her from like afar, from like the hall,
right? And
like they see each other. She sees that he's come back for her, and then the building collapses and they both die separately. Like even that would have been like, oh my god, like she almost like, had him right back before they're, and they die.
Exactly, like right before they're even able to talk to each other, embrace each other, like the whole wall falls on him and he dies. Like she realizes like, at the end that it was like worth. Like they're like just because I didn't want her to win, guys. At the end of the fucking day, Cersei won everything. Like she still got her man.
Out so easily.
She's still like she's still like yes, she died, but she at least died happy in her man's arms. Like fuck, like. Everybody else out here like losing their shit and getting so mad at Dany, and it's like this girl's alone and she has nothing, and now she's gonna die next episode for sure.
I found it
sucks.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Really interesting line from one of the recappers. He said it all started in a tower in the north and ended in a crypt in the south.
Ooh,
for like Jaime and Cersei.
Story.
And I was like, oh wow, that's so true. Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, they're dead. They're dead.
But I honestly, I really want to know what you guys have to say about Cersei's death, because I think it really is a big conversation. I think we were all waiting for it. Like this girl lived longer than the effing Night King. Like she, like we were waiting for the death. Like we were legit planning out what's gonna happen.
Sitting there,
is it gonna feel good? And this girl still died like in a pretty like peaceful, happy, loving way.
Pretty peaceful way. Yeah,
I think she got out pretty good.
Tragic.
Me too. There was even like talk that like even the actress Lena Headey that plays Cersei even said the first time she read the script, she thought that it was a little like that's weak. It. Yeah, like that was it for Cersei. And then she even admitted like once the actor that plays Jaime like talked her through it. He was like, no, like it's gonna make sense. She was like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't believe that, but it's interesting that probably even she was like, that's how my character's gonna go out. Like after all this shit I've done, that's it.
It's so true.
Like. That's like the best death.
And that's the thing. Like this show has taught us time and time again, season after season, that the bad guys usually win. And for so long, Cersei was winning. She was always finding a way to like come out on top. And, like when she blew up the Sept of Baelor, like she blew up all these fucking things. She killed so many people, and she was like smug as fuck at the end of every season. And even in her death, she still finds peace and happiness in the arms of her man. Like it's
frustrating.
Garbage. It sucked. I wasn't pleased with that moment. Really, I get it. I get the direction that they took. I understand why they did it, but I wasn't here for it. Like I wasn't here for that conclusion.
Let's get to it, because we're gonna have to get to it. So
this is it. This is what we've been avoiding this whole time.
I don't want to get to it.
I don't want to talk about it. Makes me sad.
This was a hard. Dany was crazy this episode. Obviously, she's gonna probably die, and I think I'm okay with the death. It's just there's a lot of things that happen along the way that I question, and they don't make sense. Yeah. And I think the biggest one is that last week, she lost a fucking dragon as they're like flying through the sky, and I get it. They surprise attacked them. That's fine, but like all of a sudden this week, the fucking dragon is like no one can touch this dragon. The dragon has endless fire supply inside of his body. He's burning everything. The scorpions are not oiled enough. They can't turn around like 360 like they were last week. Enough. Like nothing. It's like everything that worked last week wasn't working this week, and everything was working amazingly for Dany. It's like
they had so many more of the scorpions, and like none of them like one of them shot. Like one of them shot, and that was it. Like
and it was just like the scales just felt so like not at all equal or fair or anything. Anyway, so I think
because they did go into this battle, and I really thought, I'm like, she is so under, like she has nothing, like she's not gonna win this war. I really didn't think that she was gonna make it out alive, and like Drogon was probably gonna die or something.
You thought it'd be more stacked on both sides.
This motherfucker is like blowing shit up real quick. Like it starts off with the Iron Fleet. like Dany like flies from the sun all the way down directly and like destroys the entire fleet in like
gone.
5
in like
seconds.
Legit 5 seconds, guys. And like, are you trying to tell me like the only strategy Dany had was like to come from where the sun is to like blind them? Like is that it? Like that was her only strategy and she won? Like it was so ridiculous.
What? I don't get it.
You're like, oh, that's why she killed them because of the sun. He couldn't see that angle. Okay.
Like why? They're like, anyway, so she blows everybody up, and that's when Euron like doesn't die. He just like ends up like swimming to shore, which didn't make any sense either. I was like, weren't they in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah, like how
did he like swim all the way back? Anyways, so she blows that shit up, and then literally in 5 seconds, it was actually a really cool shot because you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
The walls of where Missandei died last episode.
Yeah, so the front gates essentially.
Yeah, it's like the standoff between the two armies, and you're like waiting. You don't hear anything. All you hear is kind of like growling in the background, and it closes up on one of the guys from the Golden Company, like the main like captain, and he hears like a roar, and then all you see is this fucking blow up behind them. Yeah. The whole fucking wall blows up. The gate explodes behind them. And then they all get rushed, and it was a really cool moment. It was one of my favorite parts of the episode. And that's when Drogon goes to each and every one of the scorpions and like blasts them to shit, and none of them hit him at all. Like, you're telling me that not even one of them like pierced his wing? Like, Drogon. Okay, listen. Drogon is literally, after all these fights, after all these things that he's ever gone into, doesn't have a fucking scratch. He's like the most flawless CGI dragon I've ever seen in my life. Like, Rhaegal, at least he had like holes in his wing after the last fight.
This guy, they had 2 dragons while fighting the Night King's dragon. They could not even do anything to Viserion. And then now it's like this one dragon is killing the entire army. It's just when you write it out, it doesn't make any sense. Like writing wise, it's very, very sloppy. You guys are like trying to like fill up the holes and like, it doesn't make any sense. Yes, I want it to happen, of course, but I'm asking questions. I'm like, it doesn't really make sense because just last week, like, you guys couldn't do shit. So what changed?
So this is,
So when that happens, the wall breaks. Like the whole army kind of like rushes in towards the streets of like King's Landing, and then basically what happens is there's like a big standoff where the Lannister army stops, and then like Jon's like people like stop, and then they're waiting for, I guess, the bell to go off.
They're just waiting to like see what happens next. Because I think that at that point, Dany is kind of like done blowing up all the scorpions. Like Cersei in the Red Keep is realizing that like the world is like going to shit for her. And like, but Drogon is sitting. He's sitting pretty. Yeah. Like Dany's like sitting pretty. She's like, we basically won. Like, we're good to go. Like, so I was screaming at the screen. I was like, girl, you can like literally like dip now. Like you don't even have to go into the Red Keep. You can just say, now you can surrender. Now you can like send me a raven from Dragonstone and tell me that you surrender.
My question
and then come see me later. Like, she had so many opportunities to like break Cersei in this moment, but instead she like went literally the opposite direction. But anyway, sorry, I keep cutting you off.
My question is, why wouldn't she just go to the Red Keep? Like, fly the fucking dragon to the balcony where this bitch is looking from for an hour. Like, but I don't understand.
Don't even get me started.
If they don't want us to ask these questions, then don't make it so stupidly obvious. Like, just get the dragon to fly to the Red Keep, burn that shit down, and then dip. Done. No one has to die.
It obviously wasn't even about that, right? Like, it was about her rage. It was about her Targaryen flame anger. Going back to that moment, we forgot to mention this, but obviously Jaime was supposed to ring the bells to notify that there was going to be a surrender of the city, and that would have stopped the entire war. The Lannisters like put their swords down, everything was done, and they were good. And still, Dany's sitting on this like fucking dragon, and she like loses it. She glitches out, and she just like charges forward. But you're right. She doesn't charge straight to the Red Keep, which I thought she was going to do. Instead, she fucking starts like zigzagging through the entire city and burning shit down.
And here's the thing. This is the thing. You're right. We never even cut to a reaction shot of her.
Yeah.
Once she jumps off that platform, That was it. That was the last time we actually saw her face. So when you're seeing all this happen and you're with this character for 8 fucking seasons and she's like your favorite character, but you don't even get to see her reaction or what she's thinking in this moment or like what's going on with my character.
Yeah, it's such a huge thing for her to do. Yeah. It's like a massive thing for her character. It's such a break in her character, first of all. Like,
so they asked the writers, they're like, why did you guys do that? Like, why couldn't we see her face? Like, we need a reaction shot from her. Like, this is not fair. They were like, oh, well, like, you know, we wanted to take it from like the people that were getting attacked, not the attacker. I was like,
but
really?
Why?
But really? The attacker is the main character of this fucking show. What do you mean? Like, just cut to a 10-second shot of her.
Then why did we spend 7 seasons watching people in King's Landing? Like, maybe I would have give a shit more.
Yeah.
Like,
so they basically made the point of like, they don't want you to look at the attacker. They want you to be on the ground level, like with the freaking town exploding. It doesn't make sense.
But we could have gotten at least one shot of her, like,
yeah.
Like, was she laughing? Was she crying doing it? Was she raging out?
If I saw her laughing,
what was her
Like,
emotion?
yo, this bitch is crazy. Like, she lost it.
She's bonkers.
You don't even get that feeling because you don't even see it. You just see the dragon like doing everything. So,
and that's the thing. By the end of this episode, everything like so basically she blows everything to shit. Like literally, like doesn't even care. She's so reckless. She's burning everybody down to the ground.
Like at this point, she's killing like her army too, right? Because like she doesn't even care.
She doesn't even care. And that's the thing. Like, I was like, how did she lose it to that point? Like, she doesn't even care if John is down there, like, with her people. She's like, I'd rather just, like, fucking...
Yeah,
Grey Worm's down there. Like, But, like, even Grey Worm's down there, you know? Like, how do we know that she didn't, like, burn Grey Worm to shit? Like, it's just such a... It was such a reckless thing for her to do in this very, like, very pivotal moment of her as a character. I will say this right off the top. I was not happy with the way that it all went down. And like I said, like even last episode when we were talking about her like breaking, I get where they're coming from. They want to show that she's like lost everything. She feels isolated. Like what else do you do than to make her lash out the way that she lashes out? I just don't appreciate that we're supposed to walk away from this and say, true, I guess she didn't learn anything for the last 7 seasons. She never became like a ruling, kind, honest, like fighter queen who like, you know, she literally had a whole conversation about being merciful in the beginning of this episode. She was like, mercy is our strength. I'm like, you were not mercy. Like there was no mercy in this fucking fight.
The switch that flipped was way too drastic, way too quick.
Yeah. Way too quick.
And at the same token, like I get it. I get where she was coming from. She feels so isolated. She feels so alone. Everyone's basically gone that like loved her and like was with her. The people that she trusted like screwed her over. So I get where she is like mentally. But as our Dany, like how do you go and kill like all these innocent people?
Yeah.
It was like a little too much.
Well, here's the thing. One thing I will say, I guess like in defense to like that is even when she was in her like sane mind, her rage against Cersei was already so high that she almost didn't care if she like burned people down. She was never like crying over like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like I can't do this. You know,
I honestly, guys, I didn't really care. I was like, whatever. Like, who cares about King's Landing people? Like, they're so sketch. They were like always rude to the Starks, and like, there's like, I didn't really care. And a part of me was like, she's breaking down all this old shit anyways. Like now she can rebuild her own kingdom, whatever it can be. I just mean like seeing that shit go down wasn't that sad to see, because everything that's happened in King's Landing has been pretty bad for our favorite characters. So like.
Right.
You know, there's nothing really
like the society of it all, like the whole like thing that like the courts and the people like shaming people. Like I agree with you 100%. The only thing that I will say in like defense to that whole side is like, you know, the kids. What about the children?
Of course. The babies? Yeah. And they make you.
Babies.
They obviously make you feel that because like that's what they cut to half the freaking time. But I don't know, and I don't know how else they would have done this if it wasn't for her attacking the kingdom. Like I can't see any other way. It's just. I just don't know how they're gonna end this all, and I want to know how the fuck this is all gonna end and make sense. And like
what are they gonna do?
When she got off the dragon, like what was her first like thing that she said? Was she like, "Whoa, what did I just do?" Or like, "Yes."
Yeah, like that's the thing. I want that first moment to be like, is she gonna like have a full out breakdown?
Yeah.
Is she? are we going to see that prophecy that we saw in the season 2 finale where she walks through the Iron Throne area and she sees the throne and like the whole ceiling's gone and she like realizes that she's already seen this future and she saw that it like is not a good future for her. It's just for me a very sad moment because you do have to remember her journey. She came from literally nothing. She was sold off by her own brother to a man that she fell in love with who ends up dying. Like, you talk through her storyline and you can't tell me that this is how you wanted to end her. Like, I don't understand why you would do this to
let's
to
see what happens
character.
next week. Let's see what happens. It's not done yet, but you're right. Like, I don't know how they come back from this. I don't have any high hopes. I don't know.
This is like me watching like a basketball game, just generally. Yeah. Like, just because I don't want to watch it.
So, yeah, I mean, the episode, really, the final shot is the Arya shot when she does leave on the horse. So that's how the episode ends. But, yeah, we're at the end of the episode. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people, guys, and I've read a lot of reviews today. And honestly, I wasn't even trying to find the negative ones. Every review I read was like, what a letdown. What a letdown. The timing is off. Everything feels rushed. Nothing is making sense. They're really trying to pin her as like this huge villain. Like, what happened to Cersei? She was the villain. What happened?
She was a psychopath, crazy person. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, what Dany does in one episode should not make up for everything that Cersei's been doing for the last 8 years.
Having said that, like, Dany just killed like a bunch of people and women and children.
Innocent people.
But like, Cersei also blew up the Sept, so like she did that.
And it's consequence. Like, that's the thing. It's consequence to Cersei being a fucking bitch. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it is the consequence. And she said that was going to happen. Like, Daenerys said it from the time. She was like, I will come down and conquer King's Landing and I will destroy you no matter what the cost is. It was her advisors who really said, like, we need to make sure that, like, you don't blow everybody up. And she tried her best to do that. And then they killed 2 of her dragons. And then they killed her best friend without even thinking twice. Like, let's not forget that smug ass look that Cersei has had on her face for the past 3-4 seasons. Like, come on, let Dany have this one moment. Obviously, it was really ill-timed and she ends up killing so many people. But I'm sad. Like, and Cersei gets to die like that. And Dany, now, like, we're predicting it. And I'm sure it's going to happen. Dany has to die. There's no coming back from this. Like, Jon saw her and he was like, this is not right. And, like, Arya obviously saw this carnage and she's like, this is not right. So, that the Starks are going to pull through and say, we need to end this now. Like, she can't be queen. And it's just going to be really sad to see this takedown because unless they find this magic way of making her still feel a part of something, like, my wish is that she just like flies back to Meereen. Like, maybe she just like dips. Like, maybe they like say you're exiled from Westeros. Maybe you can chill over there. Because I don't want, like, it just sucks that it would be this death of her as a character. That being said, it's Game of Thrones. What do I expect? It's what, like, I can't have a happy ending for everybody. But I had such an optimistic, still realistic, but optimistic view of what the season was going to end up being. And it didn't turn out at all the way it was going to be, for me, at least.
Yeah. I just have a couple of quotes that I was reading and I just wanted to mention it on the podcast because I found them really interesting. The first one is from Eric Kane from Forbes. He said, I was riveted by tonight's episode. I'm actually quite easy to please. Had they simply built up to this point, had they simply earned this moment of bloodshed and victory and defeat all at once, I would be cheering from the sidelines like any other giddy fan. Instead, I'm left wondering why Euron ever had a victory. Why didn't Daenerys burn his fleet to ashes last week? Why did Missandei ever have to die? Like, agreed. It's so true. Like, it was so stupid.
So true. Like, just to push her over to the edge. Like, why?
Yeah. And then the second one is from Mike Hogan from Vanity Fair. He says, look, I don't want to spend too much time second guessing the showrunners here, but I saw a bunch of people carping on Twitter as soon as the episode ended that this turn of Daenerys's is unearned. And I have to say it felt that way to me too. It's not that we haven't been warned over and over again that Daenerys has a mean temper and isn't afraid to use her dragons to punish disloyalty, but we have seen her balance that violence with mercy, kindness, and above all, shrewdness. We have spent years watching her grow from a helpless girl into a seasoned leader who has been through a lot. Enough that it doesn't really make sense that she would turn completely evil after a run of bad luck that was admittedly pretty bad, especially when she seemed to take the loss of Viserion into stride. fine. She lost another dragon. She lost two of her closest aides, and she lost the love of Jon Snow. Maybe if that had all happened over the course of 6 episodes, we might have bought it. But it happened too fast to make me believe that she immediately turned into someone who spends an entire episode slaughtering innocent people.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're saying. Like, it happened way too quickly. Like, can they grow into that gradually?
And like her going crazy, her going a little mad, because what she did was a full out mental break in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like from the Daenerys that we've seen over all these years, you know, like we've seen a kind leader, someone who cares about her friends, you know. Like if Missandei was a total bitch and like Grey Worm was like, the company that she kept were honorable people. Tyrion was like her friend for a reason, you know, like Jorah was her friend for a reason. People followed her because they loved her. It wasn't because they were scared of her. And now she's turned into this fucking psychopath. And, you know, there's that moment where Tyrion realizes that she's going to go up and like burn the whole city down. And it's almost like he's shocked, just as shocked as all of us are, because he's like, I didn't think that this was going to fucking happen. Like, why would you do this? He's an idiot.
He doesn't know what anything's going to happen, first of all.
That's true. That's true.
I you know, I think more so what I could have wanted and maybe expected a bit more is like if they had built her up as this like crazy queen from the like, as in like she helped win this Battle of Winterfell, she helped do all these things, like she was on a roll, and she started to get cocky. She was like, no, you guys need me, and and like I'm feeling myself, and fuck Cersei, and I'm gonna go in there and like trash this shit.
True.
Like if she had come with that like ego and that pride a bit more, I could have seen this coming. I could have been like, yo, like this girl's gonna slip up, whatever. But she was fine last week. Like she was hurt, but she was still okay. Like she was still herself. So
right.
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I don't know. So anyways, we got a few comments from social media. One of them was from @shortofnormal, and all it says is, I hate everything. Why they gotta do me like that? Cry face emoji ×3. And then we got another one from Faye_AJ, and she says, why are they forcing this Mad Queen storyline? Jon doesn't love Dany. How can she Jacaris the whole damn place? Where is Dany going to rule? Jamie really came back, huh?
Yep.
So a lot of different comments in there, but totally motherfucking shit. So yeah, it was very contentious. I think this is going to go down in history as one of the episodes that like everybody's going to like really not be okay with.
As you talk about it more, you get more angry and you start pointing out the flaws even more. So so this will trickle into like probably next week as well.
Like hopefully I got it all out of the podcast so I don't have to talk about it anymore, but I'm sure I will. Yeah. It's just going to be hard.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into our
recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, I think it's hard, but I think I'm gonna give it to the Jamie and Cersei death, just because we do get an ending. We do see the end, you know, the end of these two like freaking characters.
Sure. Yeah.
It was still really beautiful, like taking them out of the show's context and like seeing them as like these two lovers, whatever. It was cute. So yeah, like I hated it, but I loved it, but I hated it.
I did like this scene, kind of how it all ended with like the walls kind of crashing behind them, and then it like led up to like them right in front of the screen, which was kind of just like cinematically cool to watch. I'm gonna say my best moment was the like explode, like a little bit of both. So first the front wall blowing the fuck open, like from the back. I was like, whoa, that was cool. That's crazy.
Because like you hear rumbling and then it's like, brah.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, whoa. She just like decided. So like literally her only strategy was like to attack them from the behind. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was like nobody planned for that. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, and my second best moment is watching Arya go through the like the city while it's burning, because I thought it was like really well choreographed. It was just really well done. It was very like engaging. It felt very Children of Men, if you remember Children of Men with Alfonso Cuarón. Like there's a scene where he's like in the war. It just feels like you're in it, you know?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Cool
you're like on the ground.
Cool moments.
WTF moment. My WTF moment I think has to go to Arya giving up on the revenge mission.
True.
Not that I didn't like, I love that she did. I wanted that for sure. I wanted more for Arya. I was just shocked. I really was, because I was like, damn, like we're at the end. You know, second last episode, this is still our girl. Like she is about this.
She's gonna do it.
I was just gagged that like it changed for sure.
For sure. Like especially in that moment. Like that was the moment that she decided to leave. My WTF moment is gonna go to Dany for going in and deciding, even though she won, that she had to just literally rage out and kill so many people. Like we've been saying, it feels so out of character for her to have done that, but there's nothing we can do about it now because the show is a show, and maybe in some other reality there is a different story, but this is what we got.
Yeah.
MVP.
My MVP, and I'm probably gonna get like so much shit for this, but I'm gonna say Dani.
Okay.
And I think just because like I feel like without her we wouldn't even be at this point. I feel like if without her help they probably would have died at the Battle of Winterfell, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
for
I
sure.
just feel like she's gone to, she's taken us to this point. They wouldn't be fighting without her because she has a dragon. It's just, I don't know.
You're right. At the end of the day, she did propel the story and she brought the stories together. Like she was able to enable Jon to fight the war against the Night King. And then, even if she didn't exist and Jon Snow finished killing the Night King in his, like with his Stark family and whatever, that's fine. But what was he going to do with Cersei?
They probably wouldn't even survive because they probably wouldn't have the dragon glass to even kill them. So it really is like it's her. She plays this massive puzzle like piece, in it all. So I don't know. I don't want to give up on her.
I don't want to give up on her, and I really
hard.
I'm hoping that like this final episode is gonna give her something that like makes us feel okay, because last episode was really fucking tragic.
My question is also like her thing was that like she always wanted to break the wheel, right? Like she wanted to change it. So I'm like, but who's gonna break the wheel now? Like if she couldn't do it, who's gonna do it? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So it's
like, is it gonna be Jon just being like,
no.
"Hey guys," like, oh god, I can't fucking deal. My MVP is gonna go to Arya for literally surviving like a dragon massacre. Like it was crazy how many times she was about to die, and I was like, "Oh god, she's fucking dead. Oh god, she's fucking dead." And it was really scary because I don't know if you've seen the Hunger Games, but anybody who's watching Hunger Games, the end of the series, one of the major characters dies, and it's like very like tragic to see, because it's all like, it's kind of very similar to this moment where like they're in a war zone and somebody just dies by chance, and it was very, I was like, are they gonna do that to Arya? Like she's just gonna blow up and then Jon's gonna see her die and then she's gonna be the collateral damage in all of this, which I was like, oh god, please no. But yeah, I'm glad that she got out alive, so I'm okay with that.
For sure.
LVP.
My LVP I think is gonna go to Jaime and Tyrion. I hated Jaime's ending. I wanted so much more for his ending. I wanted to see that he had changed over the seasons. Didn't get that. He stayed the same. Cool, you're a loser. And Tyrion, Tyrion, I feel like he hasn't done a single good thing for her. Like he really hasn't. He's just not impressing me. I don't know.
Like he's a
letdown.
This season especially, he like every literal second, like every decision he made was a bad decision. Yeah. Every single one.
But he's still there to have these really long monologues, which annoys me too, because like they give him all these really cool lines, but he's actually not making any smart and right decisions. So I don't know.
It's true. I don't know. My LVP is gonna go to Jon motherfucking Snow, because I was hella disappointed that the man couldn't take one for the team, even if he didn't love his girl. Like find a way to get it in with her so she can feel a little bit better. She can feel like she's less lonely.
Give her a hug.
Man, like, don't tell me that your dick is honorable too. Like, can you please just like get it in? Like, I don't understand why he like flipped so fast, and it frustrates me. I understand that honor is like such a big thing, and it's obviously such a good thing to like rise up to, but I really think that he could have been a little bit more helpful to someone who was really hurting. Like, and all he was able to do was say, sorry, we can't do this anymore, but I still think support you.
Like, it just would have been so much more empowering for her to be like if maybe even she was the one that was like, maybe we shouldn't do this, and he was like still into her. Like, of course it's like the guy that's like, I'm not into you, you're my like weird aunt. Like,
you know what?
Like,
it's so
typical.
True.
Like,
you're absolutely right. I agree.
The best line.
Best line I think is gonna go to Jaime, and he's telling Cersei as they're about to die, he's like, nothing else matters, only us. And
they're like
that's
one of their
just
first.
How it's always been. Just the two of them. So that's it.
Mm-hmm. My best line is gonna go to the conversation between Dany and Jon, where she says, I don't have love here, I only have fear. And he says, I love you, you will always be my queen. And then she tries to kiss him, and then she says, so it's fear then.
Damn.
Because she realizes that like he can't even love her. And I was like,
so
oh, hurts my heart.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, that's the episode, guys. Let us know what you guys thought about it. It's
next
gonna
week
be
is the finale. I'm ready.
Finale.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm very ready for the
it to be
finale.
done?
I'm ready to close this chapter of my life of Game of Thrones. You know,
Yeah.
it was a
been a
lot
long
this
one.
week. Like I had so much anxiety. It's like, this is not normal, like, to watch a TV
Yeah.
show. So I'm ready for it to be done.
I'm ready for it to be done. Yeah, same. Just finishing off the episode, guys, we just want to thank our patrons of the episode, our lit rewinders, Tina and Sarge, Serena and Kate, and our mommy rewinders, Becca, Sarah, and Tamala.
And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you'll get access to all things Recap Rewind, exclusive content, and updates.
And make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and you can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment, and let other friends know that we're around. And if you guys like what we're saying, and then you can stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.